Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Make a hole, especially with a pointed power or hand tool. Don't drill here, there's a gas pipe. Systematic training by multiple repetitions. Learn by repetition. We drilled French verbs every day. Similar to the mandrel but smaller and less brightly colored. A tool with a sharp point and cutting edges for making holes in hard materials, usually rotating rapidly or by repeated blows. Military, the training of soldiers to march, as in ceremonial parades, or to perform the manual of arms. Teach by repetition. Train in the military, e.g., in the use of weapons. Undergo military training or do military exercises. Make a hole, especially with a pointed power or hand tool. A high wave, often dangerous, caused by tidal flow, as by colliding tidal currents or in a narrow estuary. Cause to be bored. A hole or passage made by a drill, usually made for exploratory purposes. A person who evokes boredom. Diameter of a tube or gun barrel. Systematic training by multiple repetitions. Learn by repetition. The act of using. The activity of exerting your muscles in various ways to keep fit. The doctor recommended regular exercise. Do physical exercise. Give a workout to. Some parents exercise their infants. A task performed or problem solved in order to develop skill or understanding. Carry out or practice, as of jobs and professions. Put to use. An action, often used negatively and without consequences. An exercise in futility. Usually plural, a ceremony that involves processions and speeches. Academic exercises. Translating an idea into action. A hard theory to put into practice. A customary way of operation or behavior. It is their practice to give annual raises. Avail oneself to. Practice a religion. Systematic training by multiple repetitions. Practice makes perfect. Learn by repetition. Pianists practice scales. Engage in a rehearsal, of. Engage in or perform. Practice safe sex. Carry out or practice, as of jobs and professions. Practice law. Knowledge of how something is usually done. It is not the local practice to wear shorts to dinner. The exercise of a profession. The practice of the law. Systematic training by multiple repetitions. A regularly scheduled session as part of a course of study. Systematic training by multiple repetitions. A public instance of reciting or repeating, from memory, something prepared in advance. The program included songs and recitations of well-loved poems. Written matter that is recited from memory. Learn by repetition. Engage in a rehearsal, of. Carry out or practice, as of jobs and professions. Similar to the mandrel but smaller and less brightly colored. The omission that is made when an editorial change shortens a written passage. Weed out unwanted or unnecessary things. We had to lose weight, so we cut the sugar from our diet. Cut down on. Make a reduction in. The employer wants to cut back health benefits. The act of penetrating or opening open with a sharp edge. His cut in the lining revealed the hidden jewels. Made neat and tidy by trimming. In baseball, a batter's attempt to hit a pitched ball. He took a vicious cut at the ball. Used of rates or prices, reduced usually sharply. Lessen the strength or flavor of a solution or mixture. Cut bourbon. Cut and assemble the components of. Cut recording tape. Used of grass or vegetation, cut down with a hand implement or machine. Reduce in scope while retaining essential elements. The act of cutting something into parts. His cuts were skillful. Refuse to acknowledge. She cut him dead at the meeting. Turn sharply. Change direction abruptly. The car cut to the left at the intersection. Be able to manage or manage successfully. She could not cut the long days in the office. Mixed with water. Sold cut whiskey. A refusal to recognize someone you know. The act of shortening something by chopping off the ends. The barber gave him a good cut. Sports. A stroke that puts reverse spin on the ball. Cuts do not bother a good tennis player. Style and tailor in a certain fashion. Cut a dress. With parts removed. The drastically cut film. A wound made by cutting. He put a bandage over the cut. Create by duplicating data. Cut a disk. Cease, stop. Cut the noise. Cut off the testicles of male animals such as horses. A piece of meat that has been cut from an animal carcass. Make out an issue. Cut a ticket. A trench resembling a furrow that was made by erosion or excavation. A remark capable of wounding mentally. The unkindest cut of all. Intentionally fail to attend. Cut class. A distinct selection of music from a recording or a compact disc. He played the first cut on the CD. The division of a deck of cards before dealing. He insisted that we give him the last cut before every deal. Of a male animal, having the testicles removed. A cut horse. Cuss to stop operating by disengaging a switch. Cut the engine. A canal made by erosion or excavation. Allow incision or separation. This bread cuts easily. An unexcused absence from class. He was punished for taking too many cuts in his math class. A share of the profits. Everyone got a cut of the earnings. A step on some scale. He is a cut above the rest. Discharge from a group. The coach cut 2 players from the team. Dissolve by breaking down the fat of. Soap cuts grease. Divide a deck of cards at random into 2 parts to make selection difficult. Wane cut. Fashioned or shaped by cutting. A well-cut suit. Fell by sawing. Hew. The Vietnamese cut a lot of timber while they occupied Cambodia. Film. An immediate transition from one shot to the next. The cut from the accident scene to the hospital seemed too abrupt. Form by probing, penetrating, or digging. Cut a hole. Form or shape by cutting or incising. Cut paper dolls. Function as a cutting instrument. This knife cuts well. Give the appearance or impression of. Cut a nice figure. Grow through the gums. The new tooth is cutting. Have a reducing effect. This cuts into my earnings. Have grow through the gums. The baby cut a tooth. Hit a ball with a spin so that it turns in the opposite direction. Cut a ping pong ball. Make an abrupt change of image or sound. Cut from one scene to another. Make an incision or separation. Cut along the dotted line. Make a recording of. Cut the songs. Move one's fist. His opponent cut upward toward his chin. Pass directly and often in haste. We cut through the neighbor's yard to get home sooner. Pass through or across. The boat cut the water. Penetrate injuriously. The glass from the shattered windshield cut into her forehead. Perform or carry out. Cut a caper. Reap or harvest. Cut grain. Record a performance on a medium. Cut a record. Separated into parts or laid open or penetrated with a sharp edge or instrument. The cut surface was modeled. Separate with or as if with an instrument. Shorten as if by severing the edges or ends of. Cut my hair. Stop filming. Cut a movie scene. The act of reducing the amount or number. The mayor proposed extensive cuts in the city budget. The style in which a garment is cut. A dress of traditional cut. Of pages of a book, having the folds of the leaves trimmed or slit. The cut pages of the book. The activity of getting dressed, putting on clothes. Activity leading to skilled behavior. The cognitive process of thinking about what you will do in the event of something happening. The act of preparing something, as food, by the application of heat. He left the preparation of meals to his wife. A substance prepared according to a formula. The physician prescribed a commercial preparation of the medicine. Activity leading to skilled behavior. The activity of putting or setting in order in advance of some act or purpose. Preparations for the ceremony had begun. The state of having been made ready or prepared for use or action, especially military action. Their preparation was more than adequate. Preparatory school work done outside school, especially at home. Music. A note that produces a dissonant chord is first heard in a consonant chord. The resolution of one dissonance is often the preparation for another dissonance. activity leading to skilled behavior. The result of good upbringing, especially knowledge of correct social behavior. The income or profit arising from such transactions as the sale of land or other property. Be capable of holding or containing. This box won't take all the items. Remove something concrete, as by lifting, pushing, or taking off, or remove something abstract. Take the gun from your pocket. Serve oneself to, or consume regularly. I don't take sugar in my coffee. Make a film or photograph of something. Take a scene. Be designed to hold or take. This surface will not take the die. Require, time or space. Take somebody somewhere. Can you take me to the main entrance? Have sex with. Archaic use. He had taken this woman when she was most vulnerable. Have with oneself. Have on one's person. She always takes an umbrella. Receive or obtain regularly. We take the Times every day. Admit into a group or community. Head into a specified direction. Pick out, select, or choose from a number of alternatives. Take into consideration for exemplifying purposes. Assume, as of positions or roles. Interpret something in a certain way. Convey a particular meaning or impression. How should I take this message? Lay claim to, as of an idea. Accept or undergo, often unwillingly. Make use of or accept for some purpose. Take a risk. Take something or somebody with oneself somewhere. Engage for service under a term of contract. Shall we take a guide in Rome? Be stricken by an illness, fall victim to an illness. Take on a certain form, attribute, or aspect. Take as an undesirable consequence of some event or state of affairs. Get into one's hands, take physically. Can you take this bag, please? Require as useful, just, or proper. It takes nerve to do what she did. Occupy or take on. Receive willingly something given or offered. Be a student of a certain subject. Proceed along in a vehicle. Point or cause to go, blows, weapons, or objects such as photographic equipment, towards. Ascertain or determine by measuring, computing or take a reading from a dial. Take a pulse. Be seized or affected in a specified way. Take sick. Buy, select. I'll take a pound of that sausage. Carry out. Take action. Experience or feel or submit to. Obtain by winning. Winner takes all. Take by force. Take into one's possession. I'll take 3 salmon steaks. The act of photographing a scene or part of a scene without interruption. Travel or go by means of a certain kind of transportation, or a certain route. He takes the bus to work. Commit to memory. Learn by heart. Impart skills or knowledge to. Get to know or become aware of, usually accidentally. I learned that she has 2 grown-up children. Find out, learn, or determine with certainty, usually by making an inquiry or other effort. Gain knowledge or skills. She learned dancing from her sister. Be a student of a certain subject. A branch of knowledge. Anthropology is the study of human beings. Give careful consideration to. Applying the mind to learning and understanding a subject, especially by reading. No schools offer graduate study in interior design. Attentive consideration and meditation. Preliminary drawing for later elaboration. Think intently and at length, as for spiritual purposes. He is meditating in his study. Learn by reading books. He is studying geology in his room. A detailed critical inspection. A written document describing the findings of some individual or group. This accords with the recent study by Hill and Dale. Be a student of a certain subject. Consider in detail and subject to an analysis in order to discover essential features or meaning. A composition intended to develop one aspect of the performer's technique. A study in spiccato bowing. A room used for reading and writing and studying. He knocked lightly on the closed door of the study. A state of deep mental absorption. She is in a deep study. Be a student. Follow a course of study. Be enrolled at an institute of learning. Someone who memorizes quickly and easily, as the lines for a part in a play. He is a quick study. Have or contain a certain wording or form. The passage reads as follows. Make sense of a language. Can you read Greek? Obtain data from magnetic tapes or other digital sources. This dictionary can be read by the computer. Indicate a certain reading of gauges and instruments. The gauge read, empty. Interpret something in a certain way. Convey a particular meaning or impression. I read this address as a satire. Be a student of a certain subject. She is reading for the bar exam. Audition for a stage role by reading parts of a role. Interpret something that is written or printed. Read the advertisement. Interpret the significance of, as of palms, tea leaves, intestines, the sky, also of human behavior. She read the sky and predicted rain. Look at, interpret, and say out loud something that is written or printed. The king will read the proclamation at noon. Something that is read. The article was a very good read. To hear and understand. I read you loud and clear. Large terrestrial monkeys having dog-like muzzles. Ride in a car with no particular goal and just for the pleasure of it. We tooled down the street. The means whereby some act is accomplished. Science has given us new tools to fight disease. A person who is controlled by others and is used to perform unpleasant or dishonest tasks for someone else. Obscene terms for penis. An implement used in the practice of a vocation. Drive. The convertible tooled down the street. Furnish with tools. Work with a tool. Impart skills or knowledge to. He instructed me in building a boat. Make aware of. Give instructions or directions for some task. She instructed the students to work on their pronunciation. Impart skills or knowledge to. An English pirate who operated in the Caribbean and off the Atlantic coast of North America, died in 1718. Accustom gradually to some action or attitude. Create by training and teaching. We develop the leaders for the future. Work out. We have developed a new theory of evolution. Come to have or undergo a change of physical features and attributes. The patient developed abdominal pains. Cause to grow and differentiate in ways conforming to its natural development. The perfect climate here develops the grain. Gain through experience. Children must develop a sense of right and wrong. Change the use of and make available or usable. Develop land. Come into existence. Take on form or shape. Happen. Report the news as it develops. Elaborate, as of theories and hypotheses. Could you develop the ideas in your thesis? Become technologically advanced. Many countries in Asia are now developing at a very fast pace. Grow emotionally or mature. The child developed beautifully in her new kindergarten. Be gradually disclosed or unfolded. Become manifest. The plot developed slowly. Elaborate by the unfolding of a musical idea and by the working out of the rhythmic and harmonic changes in the theme. Develop the melody and change the key. Expand in the form of a series. Generate gradually. We must develop more potential customers. Grow, progress, unfold, or evolve through a process of evolution, natural growth, differentiation, or a conducive environment. A flower developed on the branch. Make something new, such as a product or a mental or artistic creation. Her company developed a new kind of building material that withstands all kinds of weather. Make visible by means of chemical solutions. Please develop this roll of film for me. Move into a strategically more advantageous position. Develop the rook. Move one's pieces into strategically more advantageous positions. Spassky developed quickly. Superimpose a three-dimensional surface on a plane without stretching, in geometry. Create by training and teaching. Teach or refine to be discriminative in taste or judgment. Give an education to. We must educate our youngsters better. Teach and supervise, someone, act as a trainer or coach, to, as in sports. He is training our Olympic team. Create by training and teaching. The old master is training world-class violinists. Teach or refine to be discriminative in taste or judgment. Develop, a child's or animal's behavior by instruction and practice, especially to teach self-control. Is this dog trained? A sequentially ordered set of things or events or ideas in which each successive member is related to the preceding. Train of mourners. Wheelwork consisting of a connected set of rotating gears by which force is transmitted or motion or torque is changed. The fool got his tie caught in the gear train. Drag loosely along a surface. Allow to sweep the ground. She trained her long scarf behind her. Undergo training or instruction in preparation for a particular role, function, or profession. She is training to be a teacher. Travel by rail or train. She trained to Hamburg. Public transport provided by a line of railway cars coupled together and drawn by a locomotive. Express trains don't stop at Princeton Junction. Educate for a future role or function. They trained him to be a warrior. A procession, of wagons or mules or camels, traveling together in single file. They joined the wagon train for safety. Point or cause to go, blows, weapons, or objects such as photographic equipment, towards. He trained his gun on the burglar. A series of consequences wrought by an event. It led to a train of disasters. Cause to grow in a certain way by tying and pruning it. Train the vine. Exercise in order to prepare for an event or competition. She is training for the Olympics. Piece of cloth forming the long back section of a gown that is drawn along the floor. The bride's train was carried by her two young nephews. Create by training and teaching. Make ready or suitable or equip in advance for a particular purpose or for some use, event, etc. Prepare for war. Undergo training or instruction in preparation for a particular role, function, or profession. Prepare for eating by applying heat. Educate for a future role or function. The prince was prepared to become king one day. Arrange by systematic planning and united effort. Lead up to and soften by sounding the dissonant note in it as a consonant note in the preceding chord. Prepare the discord in bar 139. To prepare verbally, either for written or spoken delivery. Prepare a report. An edible tuber native to South America, a staple food of Ireland. Produce buds, branches, or germinate. A sharp hand shovel for digging out roots and weeds. Initiate drilling operations, as for petroleum. The well was spudded in April. Drill in an opposite direction. A surgical instrument used to remove sections of bone from the skull. A drill for cutting circular holes around a center. Cut a hole with a trepan, as in surgery. A practice session in preparation for a public performance, as of a play or speech or concert. He missed too many rehearsals. Psychology. A form of practice. Repetition of information, silently or aloud, in order to keep it in short-term memory. Military. A prescribed drill in handling a rifle. A small handbook. Doing or requiring physical work. Manual labor. Requiring human effort. A manual transmission. Of or relating to the hands. Manual dexterity. Military. A prescribed drill in handling a rifle. Training in marching and the use of weapons.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.